Today, we're going to talk about the Sei Network, how you can get involved, and how you can participate in the NFT ecosystem. If this is your first time seeing me, what's up? My name is The Schiller, and I've been covering NFTs since the glory days of NBA Top Shot. Monday through Friday, I do host a stream called Xfeed that's on all the different platforms that highlights what I find on my Xfeed. Now, with that out of the way, you're looking at Sei. You've probably seen a lot of topics and discussions about Sei, how it's undervalued, or maybe that it's just kind of a budding ecosystem like Top Shot was in the early days. And so with this video, I'm going to give a quick kind of explainer about the wallet that you'll use, where it's available, what you need to do if you're trying to trade from Ethereum NFTs over into Sei and you're trying to get involved with that. And then at the end of this, I'm going to highlight a X Spaces that I was on that is about a new project. And I kind of asked some questions just as I was listening in, and there was some really intelligent people, and it's cool learning from others that have been in an ecosystem for a while. So I want to highlight 3 different accounts that if you want to follow to get more in tune with the ecosystem. Philip Baggs, who was the host of the Twitter space. Willie the Degen, who I got some vital info about Sei from and seems to have been talking a lot about the ecosystem if you're wanting to stay in touch. Crypto Kelly, who seems to be on a ton of X spaces out there regarding the Sei ecosystem, very intelligent with their thoughts and able to kind of give you the rundown of what's going on. And then Heathen, who also speaks during the spaces and gives a roundabout view of everything regarding Sei and some tough words that you may need to hear. So with that out of the way, the wallet that you'll be using is Compass Wallet. This is what the site looks like when you're going to click on it. It's got the extension for Chrome, Edge, Brave, and it also has the mobile app. So apparently Sei is also on a ton of exchanges from Binance to Coinbase, and if you're wanting to just go through that method to onboard, you're able to do so. But if you're more of a decentralized pony and you're like, hey, I want to be able to use Uniswap or something to that effect to transfer and get my Sei, what you're able to do is go to changenow.io, and this is a spot where it'll take any different cryptocurrency and swap it for you, but we'll just use ETH as an example. We can put in 0.3 here. We hit exchange. Once you have your Compass wallet, you'll have that address. You'll plop in here. You'll hit confirm, and then it will give you an address to send your 0.3 ETH to. It'll connect and then eventually send your Sei through. Now, once you have your Sei, you're going to want to go to Pallet Exchange, the premier Sei native marketplace. And you'll see at the look here, it kind of looks pretty much like your OpenSea type aspect, the top collections, volume, yada, yada, yada. Now, WeBump is something that will be brought up a lot, and as Willie the Degen here highlights, as WeBump created the first NFT on Sei and also developed the go-to NFT launchpad on Sei, Lighthouse. Lighthouse is a seamless NFT creator platform. Simply upload your art, set wallets OG, whitelist public allocations, and off you go. And so that seems simple, and realistically, that's all it is. If you have any kind of experience within the NFT space, those instructions should be simple, clear, easy to do. And now I want to highlight the X spaces that we were on. The reason for me joining this was one that I knew the founder from before, and I just wanted to kind of support a friend in that one and attend. But also for myself, I cover the space as a whole, and we're seeing Sei pop up more and more. So you get to hear from the founder, you get to hear from Kelly, you get to hear from Heathens, and it's kind of a really nice roundabout discussion. The beginning of this does highlight the upcoming Goblin project, but if you're wanting to kind of skip past that, if you don't care and you're wanting just to kind of understand maybe the vibes of Sei, you are able to do so. But I do think that Philip does give some good insights if you are interested in getting one of your first mints on Sei. I hope you guys enjoy this. Make sure to like the video if you enjoy, and maybe come by and see my live feed. You'll have to switch over to my live feed tab on YouTube if so. But anyway, let's get into it. Here you go.
So today's topics include Goblin, WeBump, and the Sei ecosystem in general. And obviously, we are joined by some amazing people. Let's do some short introductions. I am Philippe, the founder of Goblin. We have Sleepy, our moderator here, who is
What,
behind the Goblin account at the moment.
what's up, everyone?
Why do we work with someone that's called Sleepy as a moderator? I have no idea. It doesn't make sense. We will have 2 special guests. We will have Crypto Kelly from the WeBump team, and then we have Heathen. Then we have Von Schiller. He's a very good friend of mine. He creates a lot of Web3 content, mainly outside of the Sei ecosystem. He's also a great Spaces host, which is why I asked him to join us today as a non-biased co-host. I think we will have some engaging discussions, and hopefully, we can educate all our listeners today, including ourselves, since that's the main goal of today's spaces. Schiller, do you want to say something?
Yeah, for sure. Hey, everybody. So yeah, I mean, I cover a lot outside of the Say ecosystem, but obviously, as many of you have probably seen, things have really started to ramp up there, and I think there's a lot of people that are interested in what's going on with Say, how to get involved, what are these new projects, the do's and don'ts about that. So I definitely want to highlight that aspect of it. Obviously, we're going to focus on goblins today, but I think it's also important that we kind of educate as we go throughout. So I'll probably be trying to drop some questions about the initial setup for this, but I'm glad that everybody's here, whether you are live or listening back. But I mean, Philip, maybe to get started here, do you want to give a little bit of a background about how the project kind of got started?
Yeah, sure. So this started like 20 months ago after I left the previous projects on Ethereum. And I was truly fed up with the space, with the crypto space in general. We were facing so many scams, so many fake roadmaps, such low quality, so many rug pulls. I was just tired of it, and I thought I can write threads about it. I can start complaining, or I can really take some action and try to create something myself. Started finding team members. Obviously, I had some connections already in the space. I put my money where my mouth is, and we started working. Did I expect this to take so long? Absolutely not. Initially, we were going to launch on either Ethereum or Solana, but since we didn't go live yet for such a long period of time, suddenly Sei came up, and I saw big opportunities there. There's a lot of new opportunities. There are many risks involved as well, but we will get into that a bit later. Schiller, we will have some discussions, especially for outsiders. I know there are many eyes on the Sei ecosystem in general, but there is also many doubt. There is this sense of scams going on the Sei ecosystem, as if it's not real, whether there are many bots involved, etc. I think we will have some healthy discussions on that very soon. I see that Crypto Kelly is here. I will add Crypto Kelly as a speaker.
Yes, I
Um,
think I just took their request.
Perfect. I see we have Weebump here. Heathen is not here yet, or am I mistaken?
No, I had Heathen in earlier, but it was like a misclick. I didn't realize it was Heathen.
Maybe you banned Heathen. Great.
Ah, no, there's no way.
Crypto Kelly, do you want to say something? Introduce yourself, please, if you will.
Hi, yeah, thanks for having us on. I'm Crypto Kelly. I've been pretty active in the NFT scene for the last 3 years now. I mostly do stuff on Solana, but I've been working with Weebump on Say and helping explain how awesome the NFT infrastructure and tooling they have built is. And I'm a big Web3 advocate. I've been writing a blog that has over 20,000 listeners on Discord, and I have a lot of uh, belief in the future of Web3 and how to incorporate other communities and not even necessarily always talking to the Western audience. But yeah, I'm working with Weebump, and Weebump has built the NFT infrastructure and tooling per se. And so far, as of the launch of December 27th, we've helped mint around 200,000 NFTs on mainnet, testnet, and just using the Lighthouse CLI. So it's been a really cool growth. And obviously, um, not everything is going to be uh, like not every NFT project can be 100% amazing. There's a lot of things that happen, and we're just building and we're trying to grow the ecosystem and create volume. And everyone really has to be careful. And these kind of situation, the early ecosystems, everyone's waiting to see can we sustain the growth, and that's what we're trying to do. We're building developer resources. We have 1 million people in our Discord helping each other out, and we've done workshops as well with different DeFi platforms where they go through their platform and I get to ask them questions, and we do interviews of the founders, and we're just trying to allow as many people as they can to jump into the Sei ecosystem and learn what it's all about.
Yeah, that's amazing. And obviously, we are a partner of WeBump. So shout out to all the WeBump holders. WeBumping as always. Yeah, I would love to dive into more details together with you guys about WeBump and the general ecosystem a bit later. Obviously, everyone wants to know a lot about Goblin. So I think it only makes sense to give some words about Goblin. And Schiller, please interrupt me whenever you need it. I can go on a small ramble about Goblin, but maybe you wanna, step in whenever it's needed.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, you know, when we state that storytelling is at the core of Goblin, we truly mean it. Everything that we present to you has a story behind it, and everything is connected. You must understand that Goblin is not just a project. To us, Goblin is a culture. And our main goal for all Goblins is to empower each other within this culture. To better understand this vision, we need to shine some light on like the actual storyline of our animations. Since here the goblins are being controlled and imprisoned by the shamans to extract their powers. Only by working together, they are able to escape and become powerful enough to withstand the bad actors. Now, even though we present the goblin storyline in a fun 3D animation video, there is a deeper meaning behind it. One that is like an analogy for real life. And you will see that this mindset comes back through all the tools and services that we have created for you guys. Hopefully, you have seen our most recent trailer video that we shared on X, which explained our entire vision. As you saw, there are many different components to Goblin. Some of these are working products, while others are considered future goals. And I want to make extremely clear that we do not have a functional launchpad or a game, nor do we have a full fashion line in place. However, we do have functional tools such as the Design Studio, the Goblin Hub, augmented reality, and all of these services will be open to you guys in the coming days. And I'm only stating that because I have a very bad experience with roadmaps. I fully understand that many projects promise all of these things. And I want to make very clear that this is part of our vision. We are not promising these things, but we have goals that we are working towards. So yeah, it is all circled around our community empowerment. We create the tools, the experiences, and provide the opportunities to our members. And in return, they can accelerate their own skills, creativity, and abilities. And by doing so, they are directly contributing to the growth as Goblin as a whole. Now, since there are so many moving components, I can announce to you guys that we are launching something that we call the Goblin Phases. And this will be a guided process where we introduce the individual parts of Goblin through our way of storytelling, through providing amazing content that you can engage with. Every few days from now on, we will direct all our content specifically to these individual parts. For example, for a few days, we start focusing on our characters specifically, explain all the details around the characters, around the full body designs, why we did what we did, the background stories, elaborate on what you actually receive with the characters, such as the token. The next phase would be on our design studio. Then we go into detail with the Goblin Hub, etc. So if we were to immediately release all the different types of content that we have, people lose the ability to follow what's going on anymore. And we have already seen this with our recent video trailer, where not everyone has watched the full trailer. They engaged with our post, but I noticed that many people didn't fully understand what was going on in the video. So they're still unaware of what's going on with Goblin. And this is why we need to be extremely meticulous in our communications approach. And the same is true when it comes to creating the hype. Hype comes in cycles. And obviously, we have seen so much hype in the first days of Goblin, and people expect us to maintain this hype. But we need to make sure that we activate hype at the right moments. So if you think, why are they not hyping Goblin every single day? It doesn't make sense at this stage. This brings me to a very important message that I have for all of you. I know that all our members, partners, whitelisters, everyone is eagerly waiting for us to review our mint date and our mint price. And there has been so much interest from so many projects that want to work with us, which obviously we are truly grateful for. But please understand that we have only launched a few days ago. While the interest is and the engagement is very high, we cannot yet confidently state that we already have a real community in place. It is simply impossible to create a real community in a few days' time. And the overall launch strategies of projects on Sei have mainly been focused on like 1 week of extreme hype, mint out. But we truly believe that this approach will, in the long term, have a negative impact on Goblin if we did the same. Especially, as I said, our members will not be aligned with our vision. So, after discussing with multiple advisors and other founders, we have decided that we need to hold off on announcing the mint date and the mint price just a little bit longer. I'm very sorry to disappoint all of you guys, but trust me that we only do this in the benefit of Goblin and the community members. At this stage, you have barely been introduced to Goblin, and we have a lot of community building to do. The mint date and the mint price, they need to be aligned with general market sentiment and our community sentiment and the overall market information such as the number of active users. So this made us realize something. There's an even bigger challenge ahead of us right now, and that is the actual onboarding of new users onto Sei. The Sei ecosystem as it is right now, it is very small. And this is why I want to announce that we will launch our new mission of onboarding new users from outside of Sei. We are already in contact with multiple projects outside of the Sei ecosystem. Think of large projects on Solana and Ethereum. However, we need more time to do this properly. Well, and already we are already focusing on the mint price and the mint date and aiming for a quick mint. It will not help us at all. This is why I'm telling you we need to slow down a little bit and move the mint information a bit further ahead so we can really get some proper structure in place for our community. You want to interrupt me, maybe, Schiller? Any
Yeah,
questions for that?
uh,
Sure. I'm in on ramble,
no,
but
you're good. You're good. You're good. Okay,
I'm excited
so
about it.
that was a lot to unpack. So you guys are moving things back in terms of the mint and whatnot. I know obviously you've been kind of like working on things for a while, deciding on Sei and going from there. But I mean, with leading up to your mint and everything, and you're talking about building out the storyline here, you're focusing on the animation, and I think that it was the trailer was really cool. But as you see the story developing, is it something where we're going to see more like written story, more of these animations? Is it going to be single images, like as a reference, like we see doodles as they kind of do like a quick small animation almost daily? What's kind of the thought with goblins?
Yeah, so obviously, so we have two type of divisions within Goblin. We have the Dream Block animations, which focuses on the animation series, if I can call it that, which is with our main characters, Django and etc., of the trailer that you guys probably have watched. And then we have our 3D designer in our team, and he creates all our NFT characters, all the clothes, and all the small animation videos that we post that are shorter videos. Now, our plan is to really focus on these shorter videos as a form of constant content that we can release. If we were to focus on the overall main animation episodes, these are very expensive. And at this stage, it doesn't make sense for us to start working on an hour-long content for that because it takes so much of our liquidity or our cash flow. So we want to focus on smaller content, build out our tools, and hopefully we can expand from there after that.
And with you're talking about partnering with different collections that are out there, is that in terms of offering mintless, lowless, or is that in a way of potentially having Goblin IP collaborated in there, or their IP in Goblins in any way?
Yeah, no, that can be both ways. Obviously, at this stage, many people or projects are interested in whitelists. We are very careful with how many whitelists we actually give away to random projects. We want to make sure that we reach the right people. We don't want to get random non-engaged members to be part of our community and dump their NFT the moment they receive it. But yeah, these collaborations can go further than just whitelist, of course. Goblin characters, our vision for them at least, is that they become universal, that we can use them in multiple settings, potentially games, and perhaps in other tools or services that partners can provide. I think there's a lot to be uncovered there. We can go so many ways with our characters. So yeah.
Well, and so my other question, comparing you and Z's profile picture, obviously his is like the full body character, where yours is zoomed in for the NFT. And apologies if you're not at like the stage of explaining all of it yet. But what's going to be the NFT that people are able to get, at least in terms of the kind of initial launch here?
Yeah, so the character that Z is in this case is repping is it is one of the characters from the animation series. Those will unfortunately not be part of our NFTs. Our NFTs consist of different characters that are not the main characters of our animation series. For example, one character that I have as my profile right now, that would be an NFT character. Now, it might be confusing since you see a zoomed in version or a mugshot or profile picture version, but that's because we provide two type of characters to you. You will receive a full body version. Let's take Z's profile in this case. It will look similar like that, but then our NFT characters. And you will receive a profile picture version. And it's up to the user, whichever they like. They can simply download the file and use that as their profile picture.
Okay, cool. I appreciate the insights on that. Are you wanting to continue to talk about goblins at all, or do you want to go a little bit into Weebump, or what's your thoughts on this?
Yeah, no, let me share maybe two more things. I forgot to say that with these characters, you also receive the 3D file for those people that are skilled with Blender or 3D designing or animations. We give you complete freedom to use these files. We really like when you guys make fan art or make any content with goblins. We truly appreciate it and we love seeing it all. So yeah, we really want to encourage everyone to use those. um, and lastly, maybe before we move on, I should clarify one more thing about the whitelisting. We have these extra special roles that we have assigned in our Discord to people. I can now confirm to everyone that whoever received a role like that will be whitelisted. However, we do keep track of names and we do try to minimize the bots that we have as much as possible. So if we see certain members are completely inactive, they're not engaging, or some people message me behind the scenes. They might not want to talk in chat, but they're still helping Goblin behind the scenes. That's completely fine. But we need to make sure that we don't have too many bots involved and quick flippers. So yeah, that's just putting that out there. We still have some spots available for people that are active, etc. Yeah, so I think we can move on to Weebump if you guys are fine with that. I think we covered Goblin in a general sense. I want to dive into more details in another spaces. I don't want to waste everyone's time here that's here as a partner. Yeah, after Weebump, maybe Heathen can also say some words, or shall we pick Heathen first? Didn't get an introduction yet.
I think we should pick Heathen first because of my fat fingers.
Let's pull Heathen up. Please unmute Heathen.
Yo, what's good?
A short introduction about yourself, who you are involved with, etc.
Yeah, so I'm helping out probably too many communities to sit here and list, but some of the biggest ones are Saiyans and Spirits, um, along with the Cabal group, and then gonna be working on a few things with Goblin, but that stuff I'm not allowed to say just yet. Um, and there's a few other ones that are supposed to be announcing next week. So that's pretty much as I can say. But
Cool.
also one
So
other thing, uh, shout out Dog Wiz down in the crowd. That's someone everyone should also follow. Very
yeah,
good on the
that will
early
cost money.
looks.
I'm very sorry. This shout out should cost money. We can talk about that afterwards. Um, all right. Yeah, we love to have some discussions about the general space after we go past Weebump. I think for some people, Weebump might still be unknown. Maybe we have some new listeners here. Could you maybe clarify, Crypto Kelly, is your main vision with Weebump to be like the launchpad for projects to come onto Sei, or are there more goals that you guys are working towards at the moment?
The scope is definitely much broader. Basically, on an even deeper level than the launchpad, it's more like the Lighthouse CLI is what's creating the entire infrastructure and allowing people to mint NFTs on Sei. So it's kind of similar to Metaplex, but we didn't want it to just have some faceless kind of company with a logo. The team saw the value in having a community and having that be centered around NFTs. And I'm a 100% NFT advocate, and it seems like Sei really understands the power of NFTs to build community and create sustainability for a blockchain, because we saw that with Solana. We saw that the NFT community and the NFT activity basically kind of saved the chain from the FTX collapse. And so WeBump looks at everything that happened, and we saw you need to create a community, and also the ecosystem was so new that you needed to literally build the technology. So building the technology to create the NFT communities is more what WeBump is about. And also, we've been doing these educational workshops in our Discord, and we've had 200 people coming, learning about the DeFi uh, projects that are building and going through the platforms and showing them how everything works. And so we're really trying to build this community around people who are wanting to help each other, we're wanting to build together, or just hang out and have fun and popping and bumping. And we have a bunch of fun memes that we throw around everywhere. And so just kind of participating in all of Web3 as a whole and condensing it into one community. And we're really trying to create this atmosphere on Sei of collaboration and not competition. And me personally, that's something that I really love and something that I want to try to push as hard as I can, because Web3 is still so incredibly small. And the ecosystem that has been building for a decade is still very, very tiny compared to what it could be. And so I think that sometimes the issues and the drama that happen in Web3 are kind of meaningless in the long term. So uh, everything kind of goes into this mindset of paying homage to the culture that already exists, and also wanting to foster this inclusive, collaborative effort that makes everyone feel like they're a part of something and it's growing.
Quick question on that. So, does every new Say NFT have to go through WeBump, or are you guys just offering like a toolkit for people that are interested in launching NFTs? Just because I'm unfamiliar with kind of like the scope.
Yeah, actually, you can take the technology because it's open source, and you can fork it and make your own version. But we've just seen a lot of people using the platform because it's easier to do that. And I believe the Colony did something like that. But um, there are ways for people to have other options. They just have to build them themselves because everything is so new.
And obviously, you have been incredibly busy. You are packed with new projects that want to launch through WeBump. Will there be any stage in the future where you guys are like, look, we cannot enroll all new projects onto Say, or is the goal really to get everyone on board as much as possible and figure out after that what the next stages will be?
Yeah, it seems like that's kind of where the entire ecosystem is right now. All the platforms, including the Sei team, are going on spaces, talking to people, giving white lists to people from other communities and other blockchains, and showing them how Sei works. And I think my background is as a creative. I am not a crypto like native or a tech person, but I think of this space as how are normal people going to interact with it and engage it and understand it right away? And that's something that I see Sei kind of reduces that friction and resistance. So the first thing that has to happen is you have to get people to use it. and they have to feel comfortable using it, and they have to want to use it every day. So building community around something that has an identity to it, like an NFT, gives that opportunity for people to come back, and it gives the impetus for them to come back and do things. And so, yeah, to answer your question, that's the long-term goal, or the big vision is get people here and then create the things that will keep them here.
Yeah, so that also connects to the point that I made. We really need to onboard new users. We need to educate them, and I hope that Goblin can be play a big part for that as well. That we can reach enough people outside of the Sei ecosystem. Like I said, I think the liquidity is still very very low, and from an unbiased perspective, I can guarantee you that there are many eyes on Sei. There are projects that would consider going on to Sei. There are investors that are considering investing into Sei and into the projects. But right now, many people are holding back. And there is still this doubt whether Sei will be the next big thing or not. And with this doubt, we see that the liquidity is still too low. Big investors are tipping their toe into the water, but will not invest a lot of funds or not a big allocation of their funds into these projects. And I think that's where we are at right now, where it's a very difficult stage. We see many free mints happening because the free mint is the general consensus at this stage, partly caused by the liquidity, of course. But the question is, when will we start seeing more paid mints? Does it make sense to have paid mints? Which projects should get paid mints? What is the longevity of other projects that do launch with a free mint? Is it most likely that these projects will cease to exist in the coming near future? Or, I mean, obviously, it's very difficult for a project to sustain themselves uh, just based on royalties. And I want to hear some input from Schiller on this as well, because obviously, Sei is new for you. When you look at the general market, and you can see that the general consensus for these projects is they do a free mint, but they have an extremely high royalty fee on the secondary market. What are your thoughts on trading wise? Let's say, as a trader, how do you look at that? And does it, yeah, what are your thoughts generally on that perspective?
Well, I think there's a lot of people that want to launch a project, have an idea of something that they think can be something that's cool, right? Like you're doing goblins here, and you have kind of this vision, and you're wanting to see if other people believe in that, think that it's going to happen. And for a lot of people, they're like, hey, I don't know what to charge for that, so they go through that free mint. And sometimes, because there might not be those royalties attached to it, that idea never comes to fruition. But I think having that paid one kind of allows people to double down. And for example, we're seeing with crypto undeads, and there was like this ninja project, I think, that was on Bitcoin ordinals, and both of those were recent sellouts, and then the team immediately started advertising that they were hiring for that. And so the opportunities in Web3 for positions, like if you're out there listening and you're thinking, hey, like, I'm not a dev, I'm wanting to do content, want to do this or that, like, these ecosystems are ever expanding, and there's going to be a lot of people that are only going to be focusing on the Sei ecosystem, as you see right now, where people are only focusing on Ethereum, Solana, et cetera, et cetera. So we're going to see more and more of these different collections come out. And I think it's, down to the teams and the founders to really make that big kind of emphasis here. And so, quick question for Heathen here. I know that you are using, I think it's the colony or the ants, and I've heard that that's like the first project on Sei. I don't know if that's accurate or not, but there's been a lot of hype early with Sei, and so I'm curious, even from your perspective, with the colony and all this other stuff, what's the driving narrative for these early NFT collections?
Yeah, so it is the colony. People just say ants just because it's faster. But in terms of like the driving force, the big thing for people who've been here like since mainnet, is because it's one of the first. There was technically this other one that launched, but nobody really talks about it. But with that being kind of the first big one, besides also sailors, a lot of those people have kind of been there. And since then, with especially with Weebum being kind of the protocol, everybody who's been there since the beginning is trying to basically make ants which I hate the comparison idea, but everyone's trying to make it feel like the CryptoPunks where it's the artifact and everybody is trying to get that and hold it because you're getting on every upcoming project, which now WeBump obviously does the same thing. If, especially if you're launching your project on WeBump, you automatically, or at least you stand to get all of their audience as well. So both projects between WeBump and Colony are kind of in the position of, hey, if you're launching on Sei and you want your project to do well, or you want a sort of like, hey, here's at least 500 to 1,000 people who are potentially going to mint your project, you either want to buy one of those NFTs and be in the community, or uh, get lucky enough to be selected to offer whitelist.
And have any of the collections that are out right now done anything that's like, hey, we're building this huge metaverse, or have massive aspirations? Or is it kind of just, hey, we're launching this and we are wanting to build out the brand, the IP, we have different kind of avenues we're going about? Is there anybody that's kind of tried to break out from like the curve of the traditional NFT launch?
Yeah, there's a bunch of people building in the background, and you'll see some people dropping like teasers and stuff here and there. But we're currently in this wave one or gen one, um, where all the people who figured out what Say was, like 2 weeks ago, are kind of coming in, and currently all we're getting is really shitty Fiverr art. Not everything, but a lot of it. And from what I've seen coming out, there's going to be much more like premium art and people who are basically building tools before they even announce the mint or before they even announce their own project, just to show that, hey, we're builders, we're not just here to shill shitty art, take money off secondary, and then I don't know, give you a really shitty version of streetwear where they're just putting their logo on a shirt and calling it fashion, which is typically the norm for a lot of these. Like, we don't need any more streetwear NFT. A lot of people in NFT can't dress. They're still dressing like it's 2012 fuckboy, which is terrible. So the the big thing on Say now is everybody who's a builder first, and then the NFT is kind of coming with it. So like Yaka is doing that same thing. We bump. So there's there's a lot of that going on. So you're kind of getting a blend of both. And now that we're about to hit this Gen 2, where again, premium art and then people from other chains who are trying to launch, a smaller collection to kind of open up that market and have almost be kind of omni chain, I think is going to be this next wave of projects.
So, last question for you, and then if I can get Crypto Kelly to chime in as well. What are like do's and don'ts of Say? Like, is there even like a thing that you can add to that? I know that it's early, but any do's and don'ts?
Yeah, the whole, like, we can all be nice and everyone's super, super friendly and helpful, but like the whole wag me culture is super cringe on this side. Not many people are probably going to say it, but if you get involved in the group chats where you see what's going on in the Discord, especially if you join the Saiyans Discord, that thing is unhinged, but in the best way. It's just everybody's getting roasted constantly. Um, but it's a lot of just chill, not, over try nobody's really trying to overhype, at least now. Now that more people are kind of jumping in the space, you're getting a lot of it. Like, I put out a tweet yesterday where I will see someone who probably came in, which is it's fine, and you're technically, everybody's still technically early, even if you did just get in 2 weeks ago. But I just put out a tweet yesterday about, I keep seeing someone referring to someone as an OG who came in on like January 1st or January 4th, and I'm like, they've been here for like 2 weeks. Just shut up and buy the coin, kind of thing. So yeah, that's pretty much, I think, kind of where we're at overall.
Awesome. Okay,
So
cool.
if I can just jump in here, I'm just wondering, since I always like looking ahead of times forward. Obviously, we're at a very early stage, but there need to be some opportunities for Say, right? I'm just wondering what you guys think are the main opportunities. What are the drivers for Say that will really take this ecosystem to the next level? How can we get new liquidity into this space? Is it through collaborations with Magic Eden? I mean, there's some speculation there. I have been in contact with someone at Magic Eden. They told me they are focused on Ethereum at the moment, but they didn't deny that they wouldn't consider Sei. How far we are away from that, I have no idea. Do we have any Sei Foundation that can step in, help projects? What are your general thoughts on these type of opportunities? Heathen, maybe if you can answer that.
Yeah, from everything that I know and people I've talked to are Magic Eden, so they now have people that are strictly holding the title EVM. So it's definitely coming, but because they've already been working on the Ethereum side, um, that's obviously going to take precedence. And then Polygon also, they've been kind of working almost kind of hand in hand while the Ethereum is kind of getting the bigger push. Um, but I think now with the way the Say system is now, people who want to build, and even if it's things that already exist on other chains, but it's not native, now it's kind of the opportunity for people to come in, build something native, and then whether that gets absorbed or it goes away or it's just an option, it's more about having options because now there's little to none, right? Like how we were talking about WeBump earlier. Everybody's using WeBump protocol because it's it's the first, it's the best, and it's considered the standard. So I think over time we're going to see people come in and like Kelly was saying, they're going to fork off, they're going to do their own thing, and they may make their own version, but it's still going to come down to who's building natively and who's contributing, to the ecosystem. I mean, we have free projects like Sayans who have now built a uh, holder verification, and now they have Say and Swap. And then we've got a call actually right after this where we're going over the next phase and the next tool building. They've onboarded a secondary dev team, and that's all from Freemint because their secondary went crazy, and they're kind of the one that brought in all these new people that are just jumping over. So it's basically like the prime time to kind of get in. But I would say the biggest thing for people who are coming in is, calm down. We don't need another thread of how to get started. There's hundreds or thousands at this point. Uh, you know, bring something different that's not Fiverr shitty art, please. And if you do, don't try to charge us 50, $60 because it's shit. So.
Yeah, so I just wanted to say that for all founders that are listening to this, if there are any founders, of course, Goblin is very much open to figuring out whether there can be some collaborations, partnerships that go beyond just whitelist giveaways. I'm already a bit tired of just whitelist and that's the collaboration. That's it. I think we are at such an early stage where we have projects that really try to build, that want to create value. Why don't we start working together? Why don't we have open discussions about this space, on the struggles that we go through, finding solutions, and build from there? I think we need to stop focusing on this one day mindset or 1 week hype mint, whatever, and start looking at the future and how we can contribute together and partner with each other to really show the other people from the other chains, look, we are building together, we are striving towards real value, real products, real services. And I think this will onboard way more people than focusing on just our individual projects. Crypto Kelly, do you have any thoughts on that?
I totally agree. And to answer your question from earlier, Say definitely has a lot of things going for it. Heathen did mention the EVM, and there are a lot of people who are looking at how to integrate other chains. And the Cosmos ecosystem, from what I know, is already a very collaborative effort that's trying to incorporate as many different chains as they can. So I think that Say, because of its speed and its ease of use, even if the UI isn't there, just the backend being pretty solid at this point, uh, it can always scale and things always need to grow in an appropriate way. But I feel like there's a good momentum here, and as long as we can keep it, then things can go anywhere. And I really, from a normal person's perspective, using L2s is hard, and using Ethereum is annoying. And something like Sei would be much more appealing, and it doesn't have the same stigma to some as Solana does. So I feel like that kind of gives more accessibility to the chain as a whole. And I definitely agree with you, though. People should I don't know. For me personally, I feel like if everyone thinks that their idea is the best, and if everyone believes that only they can do it, then stuff doesn't go anywhere. And so we need to be helping each other out, because if everyone tries to do it on their own, then it's just going to end up being a bunch of failed projects. And I've worked with a lot of projects. I work with a few right now, and I know that there's ebbs and flows of momentum and hype and what you can actually do on the dev side and resources and stuff. So all of that kind of has to be kept in mind when you're doing anything in this ecosystem.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. Sheila, do you have any thoughts on that?
I mean, the only thing that I really want to kind of like add, because I've been kind of more of like a sponge on this, because I find this fascinating, is that when you guys are talking about the different NFTs that are launching on, say, like you see the Ansi, I see a couple of the other profiles. I apologize, I don't know the names of all of them, but I've seen them along my timeline. Is that I think that there's a huge educational opportunity here, where you can highlight, hey, like this is cool art, or this project's doing something really nice, but like add the point under it of like, hey, here's the marketplace you go to, hey, here's the first initial steps here, and where some of you guys might be like, damn, like this is, I've heard this 100 times and I'm familiar with it. There is a vast amount to Philip talking about earlier, how there's a lot of people looking at the ecosystem, but I don't I don't know where to start. I do like a stream every day where I kind of just talk about different headlines in the space, and I did one on saying, was like, hey, like everybody's talking about this and the price is going up, and then your only reaction is like, okay, I guess I gotta like go figure out how to buy the coin, if that. But even, I see your hand up, so feel free, boss.
Yeah, I was gonna say for what to kind of echo off what you're saying. So another big thing too is that the actual Say team is very integrated into the eco, especially like they're all over Twitter. They freely jump in spaces and they will answer questions on the timeline, and they'll basically offer free advice. They'll point you to people to go and look at. So that's something too, for people like you and for people who are trying to get in. I think them seeing that those team members are actually out there and they're not just kind of, you know, people who tweet every once in a while and try to be too edgy and cryptic. It's it's really good for people who are coming in, and because it is a whole new chain and stuff, there's definitely that issue of kind of onboarding, but like I said earlier, people are building stuff every day. So there's a new thing called Sayinization, which has like it's actually kind of a mirror off the regular Say website that actually does have a whole area called ecosystem where you can see, you know, apps or sorry, wallets, dApps, DeFi, NFT projects. So you can actually go through and see who the chain itself is supporting or has a partnership with, relationship with, whatever it is. So there's a ton of free info, and a lot of it's just surface level. You don't have to dig too much. As long as you're just kind of curious, you'll probably find it with ease.
Amazing, thank you for that insight. Yeah, it's funny watching like a budding ecosystem, because we go through like the same narratives within crypto, right? I wanted to make a post, but I didn't know how to word it, about how almost every project is saying like, oh, this is early, this is just the beginning, yada yada yada. And I mean, at first you can be like, okay, that you want to be like cynical and say, okay, well, everybody's saying the same thing, but then you look back to 21, where everything really started kind of ramping up, and NFTs as a whole, I felt like had their kind of breakthrough moment, to a part to the mainstream, but really it brought a lot of people together. And I think obviously with everybody being stuck in their houses, it gave people a place to hang out, the community, and yada yada yada. But I think we're going to see this evolution with NFTs, where the integration and specifically the application of how they're used for our day-to-day lives is going to change massively. So just as kind of a broad note here, everyone here, you should be excited for what's to come in the entire space here, because I think we're some of the few people in the world that are, paying attention to what's going on, because I think this is revolutionary.
I just want to jump in. I want to thank everyone for being so transparent with everything. We have, I think, Heathen said and Crypto Kelly, you guys, you have to jump into a new spaces very soon. I thought maybe we can quickly open up this space for some listeners to have some